The most controversial penalty in Formula One for such a long time, and we think it has massive ramifications for racing, for the drivers, for the show of Formula One. Let's get straight into it. Here with Sam, professional kart driver. So Fernando Alonso given a massive 20-second penalty for essentially driving erratically. The stewards have given a long explanation that was really weird.
Yep.
Johnny Herbert was on the stewards panel. He's had beef with Fernando Alonso before, where talking about retirement. That's years ago. Let's go straight into it. I've got a note here that says, has the game gone? Is that part and parcel of driving, if you're Fernando Alonso, that you're able to just manage the pace and it's up to the car behind to deal with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, in all forms of racing, it's always the person overtaking is responsible to make the safe overtake. They need to be able to react. Originally, when I saw the penalty for him, I thought it was really harsh. It's not really deserved, stuff like that. And then when the FIA did their release, they released their statement, kind of broke it down. It made a bit more sense for why they did it.
100 metres earlier, they said.
100 metres earlier, off the throttle, then back on the brake again, and then round the corner.
We've seen it before with Fernando Alonso, I think against Lewis Hamilton in the past as well. Big conspiracy theory here. We're going to go through a lot of different elements, by the way. We're going to explain what this might do to driving Formula One, but let's get with the conspiracy theory. George Russell ends up crashing. Okay, it's the last lap. He's calling for a red flag. A lot of people are saying he's in the middle of the track, worried. We have a maybe unique aspect on this because we do karting. You're a professional Club 100 kart driver. It doesn't happen like this these days, but back in the day when I was racing, they were direct drive karts, and if you crash, you need to get out of your cart, walk onto the racetrack, lift your cart up, and that happens in a lot of karting forms around the world. So it's not uncommon to be in dangerous situations. Is it the case that George Russell was called for a red flag because then he knows the race will be neutralised and he keeps his position?
Well, that's exactly what I was about to bring up there. Exactly, you took the words out of my mouth. If that was red flag, the race would have to go back to, as per the rules, the last completed lap, which he was still running in. Personally, I think that's probably why he called for the red flag. I think he's called for that so he knows it goes back to a last full lap. But then, as a counter-argument, you could hear it in his voice. He didn't really sound as if he was enjoying it. He did sound very worried, very concerned about it.
Yeah, that's our racing driver perspective. So as a racing driver, we're always thinking about to maximise our performance. That, by the way, is why I think, ironically, it should have been red flagged. I've seen a lot of commentary online that I completely disagree with, and I'm just going to call you guys out. Not you guys watching, because you're very intelligent Formula 1 fans watching the podcast. You're obviously subscribed as well. But I've seen a lot of people saying it didn't matter whether it was a yellow, a VSC, or a red flag, because everyone's going to get the same instruction from the engineer. I completely disagree. When we're racing under yellow flag, we are still racing.
100%. When I'm racing, yellow flag comes out. In karting, you got to put your hand up to acknowledge that you've seen the flag, so everyone's aware. I'm still flat out. I've got my hand up. I'm still flat out. Yeah. And I imagine Formula 1 drivers will be doing the exact same under yellow flags. Obviously, with VSC, it's a bit different. They've got delta times, but
still trying to hit that delta.
They're still trying to maximise it. Yeah, they're still trying to drive as fast as they can through the delta. But I don't think... I understand his point. It was unsafe. He felt unsafe. As a racing driver, I'm always going to be pushing to gain as much time as I can, and that includes through yellow flags.
And I just want to make sure there's no context loss about this. The difference in the red flag would have been the race would have been neutralised. There would have been no gain for any other driver to maximise their speed at whatever level it is, VSC or double yellow or yellow. So under a yellow or VSC, which I called a VSC, the race was not neutralised. To me, it reminds me of football. You know, you're a big Brentford fan, I'm a big West Ham fan.
For my sins.
Yeah, we've been down to the stadium many times and seen penalties not given for our teams because it's been in the box. That we know if it was on the halfway line, it'd be a foul.
100%.
It sort of felt a little bit like that. They didn't want to call it on the last lap. So yeah, I actually think it should have been a red flag, but I think George Russell might have been playing some 5D chess to call it as well.
I'm on the same sort of line here. Probably should have been the red flag. But when he was calling for it, I feel he did know that would take it back of the lap, which mean he would get his sixth place.
Yeah. As a driver, if you were a driver in 7th, 8th, 9th, whatever coming through, would you have wanted to get a red flag call there or a VSC call? Because it happened so quickly with the engineers.
I imagine even as the other drivers, they still want a VSC instead of red flag because Sonoda is an example. He would have come through. VSC, he knows he can complete the lap. and he would gain an extra position.
Yeah.
Whereas he would have thought, red flag, I've lost a place. Or
Yeah.
not lost, but I haven't gained a place.
This is how racing drivers think. So going on to racing drivers, the fact that Fernando Alonso has got a 20-second penalty and he did an extraordinary post where he talked about Imola for a couple of years and other battles he's had. We remember Max Verstappen brake checking Lewis Hamilton back in Saudi. We remember Sergio Perez defending against Lewis Hamilton in Abu Dhabi 2021. Lots of other examples that don't involve Lewis Hamilton. But has the game gone here? Like, is it going to change driver behaviour that they're worried about? There's basically a lot of drivers have come out. A lot of drivers that we know, racing drivers in top formula, including like Louis Delatraz, who's just won Sebring, top of his game, saying this is not right. That's not racing. Like, you have to be able fundamentally to be able to.
You've got to be able to defend your position.
And that includes compromising the car behind.
Yeah.
Now, Fernando Alonso is a driver that we often see in the mirrors. He is thinking at that level.
Well, even at Brazil last year with Perez, you could see he was looking around everywhere. He knows all about his surroundings, and he can work it. It's one of the bonuses of being so experienced like he is. He can work it. He knows what situations.
Yeah. I think it's a massive change. I don't know if Formula One and the FIA are going in this direction, saying we don't want to see that because it's too dangerous or it's not fair. Maybe just because of the ground effect cars, there's a particular danger in.
Yeah.
But you look at stuff like NASCAR. I've got a Jeff Gordon top on today. Like, it makes Formula One look like a sort of like kids sort of like show compared to NASCAR when it comes to penalising that sort of stuff.
Yeah, they're kind of making it like a soap opera, really, aren't they? They're like, yeah, you can't do this. This is scripted. For me as a racing driver, I think it's ridiculous, and I think the penalty is ridiculous, and I think they're going to be opening a can of worms here.
Yeah.
I mean, even this year with Magnussen at the first round in Bahrain. No, sorry, at second round at Saudi.
But praise for his incredible defending.
Exactly.
He racked up about 85 minutes worth of penalties, and Formula One were posting about it. So it seems to be complete double standards. From my perspective, I'm always interested in how this filters down to the grassroots.
Yeah.
And whether you're going to see in like lower level karting.
Well, whatever they do in Formula One, it's just going to affect us all down, all the way down. Karting, probably not tin tops. They love a battle. They love a smash.
You're not going to be able to
up.
stop it there.
No, but it's going to affect everyone.
Yeah, I personally think it's a real shame. I think in Formula One as well, because it's so tyre dependent and managing, you are going to be braking at different levels and managing the brakes. All Verstappen have a massive brake blowout. Yeah. So if they're going to try and police this stuff, I don't think it's quite going to work. Just last point on this, Johnny Herbert being a steward in Australia, despite basically being like this with Fernando Alonso before, and then being one of the 4 stewards who I think need to come to a unanimous decision, but still the optics of it are not great.
Well, I mean, just as another side point, and it's out there, it's an out there type view, we've had recently with the FIA and all the
Ben Sulayem.
Yeah, and all the things going with Aston Martin. Is this a kind of paper? Probably not. I'm thinking out of the box here. It's probably nothing to do with that. But is it something like to right a wrong which was never a wrong, if that makes sense?
Let us know in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed. And big penalty in Formula One.